Welcome to the 2020 On-Farm Network Results Series. I'm Megan Burns, agronomist for the On-Farm Network program. We had a couple of soybean rolling trials this year, so let's get into those results. So rolling trials look to assess the agronomic and economic impacts of a rolling operation in soybean. Generally, these trials involve rolling at recommended timing, including pre-emergence. But we also had a farmer who was interested in late rolling this year and assessing the effect of that late rolling on his soybean yield. Now, the intended stage here was to roll the soybeans at V3, which is past the recommended window for rolling in soybeans. However, the soybeans happened to be at R1 at the same time as they were at the V3 stage. So the producer still decided to go forward and test out what would happen if he rolled his soybeans at R1. Now, when we're doing a rolling operation post-emergence, especially if it's not at recommended timing, we want to assess the effect of that rolling operation on our plant stand. So in addition to looking at the effect on yield, for this late rolling trial, we also looked at the effect on stand by quantifying breakage shortly after rolling took place. So these are the locations of our two rolling trials from this year, both of them in eastern Manitoba, and then you can see the NDVI images of the two trials there. Okay, so getting into the results, starting with the recommended timing rolling trial. So this is the one that was rolled pre-emergence. There was no significant yield difference between rolled and unrolled soybeans for this trial, which is pretty consistent with what we would expect to see, that rolling doesn't have necessarily a big effect on yield when it's done at recommended timing. So as a result, there's no increase in income to offset, per se, that cost of the rolling operation. However, we recognize that there's obviously a certain peace of mind that can come with a rolling operation that might make it worth it, so to speak, depending on your risk tolerance and certainly depending on your production conditions. So spending a few dollars an acre on rolling in the spring is certainly a lot less expensive than fixing your combine in the fall. So although we have it represented here as a profit loss, it can certainly still serve a purpose to protect your bottom line, depending on your risk and your production conditions. Okay, so moving on to the late rolling trial. Late rolling significantly decreased yield by almost 7 bushels an acre here compared to the unrolled soybeans. As you can see, when we quantified breakage a few days after the rolling operation, there was significant damage to the plant stand, so totaling an average of about 47,000 plants an acre that were completely broken at the stem. So we're seeing, quite a large loss in profit as a result of that decline in yield per acre with that late rolling operation. So in terms of what's next for rolling trials through the on-farm network, I think we have a pretty good handle now on the idea that rolling at recommended timing doesn't have much effect on yield. We certainly learned this year, definitely don't roll your soybeans at R1. Try and stick to that recommended timing window. Whether we continue with rolling trials in the future will just depend on farmer interest. So we would be happy to continue facilitating rolling trials if growers are interested in seeing how rolling versus not rolling performs in their production systems. So a big thank you to all of our on-farm network participants. If you are interested in learning more, getting involved, or if you have a trial idea, please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you.